We met in college, got married in our mid-20s, and we're raising 2 children. He's hardworking, loving, and has a healthy and large circle of friends and family who think the world of him. So I cannot overemphasize how caught off guard I am by the last few months. One of my close friends has a friend who works in the same company and reached out to me and basically recapped an incident in November. Maya is a 23-year-old customer rep that had been working for a few months in their company, and in November went to HR to file a complaint over my husband ogling at her and making her feel uncomfortable. He called her Pocahontas in the break room. Another coworker, an older, more established person in the company, vouched for the disrespectful way my husband spoke and acted towards her and how she had to tell my husband off. He got reprimanded and written up. When I asked him, he didn't deny what happened and instantly assured me his job wasn't in any real danger and how I know the boss loves him and they go way back. I told him it wasn't about that and it's about what possessed him to harass a girl, and he excused it by saying his eyes wandered and he didn't mean to offend her when he nicknamed her. I called BS on that and told him he didn't even sound sorry. He told me he was, but that he learned from it and it wouldn't happen again. My friend later told me Maya was freaked out over a very expensive anonymous set of gifts that were sent to her apartment and how there was no proof, but that Maya knew it came from my husband, and that during work, my husband didn't cross any lines, but that the poor girl still felt icked out whenever she had to share a room with him. My friend told me I only had her word to go on, but that she herself caught glimpses of my husband checking out Maya during lunch or meetings, and only Maya got those types of stares from him. I hated having to do this, but I checked my husband's bank accounts and his cell phone to maybe find a purchase order. Nothing out of order except for a major transfer to one of his friends, almost $8,000. I confronted him, and he said his friend just needed some help. And how I know said friend is in a tight bind, and how he has kids, and Christmas was coming up. I couldn't argue and had to swallow my worries and bad feelings because he kept reassuring me how everything was fine at work. In January, Maya reported him to HR again, and this time he told me the same day, likely because he knew I'd find out otherwise. And he was acting like a victim, saying Maya would act like his friend one moment and then get him in trouble the next. I told him to stop lying, to stop making excuses, and to stop insulting my intelligence. I screamed at him to get out of the house and stay gone. Then it's like his brain broke, or I don't know, the real him came out maybe. He went on this demented rant about how I don't have to worry, that I'm his wife, the mother of his children, how everything is airtight and what's his is mine, and how his attraction to Maya was just animalistic and how someone like her would never threaten my place. I was stupefied as I heard my husband go off on this sick tangent, including referring to this poor girl using slurs. I kicked him out and couldn't even stand to look at him for 2 weeks. A day after, he tried taking it back, saying he was stressed and felt like everybody was attacking him, but I couldn't stand to speak with him, much less look at him. He promised to work on himself and us and said we should go to couples therapy when, and I'm ready. And in the meantime, he'll give me my distance. I told him he needs to see a therapist by himself, and he didn't argue back at all. He even confessed that he did send Maya that anonymous expensive gift and had his friend put in the order. It's been 3 weeks. He's gone on 2 sessions with a therapist, and we're scheduled for our first session of couples therapy at the end of February. Thus far, he's shown he's willing to put in the work to get better. But how do you get better from that? Is there even a point to couples therapy? I feel so lost. I don't recognize the person I married, but I also don't want to break up our family if there's a chance he can get reformed. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are still attracted to a man who dropped real money on a woman he is actively sexually harassing at work while under active investigation by the HR department for said harassment. An affair is one thing. Intimacy harassment of a woman who is terrified of him and adamantly making it loud and clear? Are we missing something? Are you generally okay with him seeing other women as long as it is consensual? Are you more worried that he is being a predator and a piece of shoot, that it is harassment and not a willing participant? That is your choice if so, but it is important information here. Comment 2. I was ready to divorce him, but he's asking us to go to therapy and give him a chance to reform. Is it worth doing? From my perspective, no, it is not worth doing. Your husband has been sexually harassing this poor woman. Like, cheating would be bad enough, but this is monstrous. With any luck, the company is going to fire your husband, and deservedly so. Do you really want to be married to the kind of person who could do this? Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been 2 weeks since my last update, and let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster. I've been trying to process everything that's happened, and I think it's time to share what's been going on. First off, my husband has been seeing his therapist regularly, and we had our first couples therapy session. It was intense, to say the least. He's been opening up about his actions and trying to understand why he did what he did. He admitted that he's been feeling insecure since he turned 40 last year, and somehow, the attention from Maya made him feel younger. It doesn't excuse his behavior, but it's a start to understanding the mess we're in. During our session, he broke down and confessed that the $8,000 transfer to his friend wasn't just a loan. It turns out he was covering up a gambling debt he'd racked up over the past year. I was floored. We've always been careful with money, and to hear that he'd been hiding this from me was like a punch in the gut. He promised he's done with gambling and is working on a plan to pay off the debt without affecting our family's finances. But that's not all. Remember how I mentioned my friend who works with my husband? Well, she's been keeping an eye on things for me at his office. She told me that Maya had been getting more anonymous gifts, even after my husband said he'd stopped. I confronted him, and after some back and forth, he finally admitted that he'd asked another coworker to send the gifts on his behalf. He said he thought it would make things right with Maya, but I couldn't believe how clueless he was. I was ready to throw in the towel, but our therapist suggested we keep trying, at least for a few more sessions. So I agreed, but I told my husband that he's on thin ice. Now, here's where things get even more complicated. My husband's friend, the one who received the $8,000, came to our house to talk. He was remorseful and said he knew about the gifts to Maya because he was the one who actually sent them. He said my husband had asked him to help cover up the gambling debt, and he felt guilty about the whole situation. He offered to pay us back in installments, which was a small relief, but it didn't fix the trust issues. As for Maya, she ended up quitting her job. My friend said she couldn't handle the stress anymore, and I can't blame her. I feel terrible that she had to go through all of this because of my husband's actions. And just when I thought things couldn't get any more stressful, my husband's boss called me. He and my husband do go way back, and he was concerned about the situation. He assured me that my husband's job was safe for now, but he made it clear that there would be zero tolerance for any more misconduct. It was a wake-up call for both of us about how serious this all was. So, here we are, 2 weeks later. My husband is still going to therapy, and we're still attending couples sessions. He's trying to make amends, but it's hard to shake off everything that's happened. I'm torn between wanting to protect my family and feeling like I don't even know who my husband is anymore. We're taking it one day at a time, and I'm trying to stay strong for our kids. They don't know the details, but they can sense the tension. It's heartbreaking to see the confusion on their faces. Husband lets friend kiss him during movie night and lies about it until I catch him messaging her later, so I plan a surprise of my own that'll teach him a lesson he won't forget. My husband and I have been married for 2 years, together for 3. This just happened about 5 hours ago, and I'm not sure how to feel or what to believe. For context, my friend comes over to drink and hang out every once in a while. And when she does, we let her sleep in the guest room so she doesn't drive home drunk. Last night, we all decided to watch a movie in bed. I fell asleep after maybe an hour. At about 4 a.m., I felt them both move off of the bed, so it woke me up. My husband said he went to go get water, and my friend said she had to use the bathroom. After they got back onto the bed, I was awake but with my eyes closed. I noticed the movie got louder, and then I heard a kissing noise. I turned over slowly, and I saw my friend caressing my husband from behind and giving him kisses on his neck while he watched the movie. Once she realized I saw her, she froze, quickly moved her hands, and we stared at each other for a good 30 seconds. Eventually, I asked her what was going on. She swore it was nothing, and that nothing happened. My husband initially said the same. After about an hour and a half of asking for the truth, he told me that he didn't know the kisses were for him, and that he froze and didn't know what to do. When I asked him why it took him so long to tell me the truth, he said it was because he was afraid of how my friend would react. I don't know if I should believe him or not. She kissed him twice that I know of, and he has a history of lying to me. My friend was quiet the whole time I was trying to get the truth out of my husband. Eventually, I told her to leave my house. She left, and my husband got upset at me for being mad at him for what happened. Personally, I think that he shouldn't have let it get to that point in the first place. He said she caught him by surprise, but eventually confessed that she first rubbed him on his back and told him it's okay. After that, she sat directly behind him, hugged him from behind, and started to kiss his neck multiple times. He said that she was probably just comforting him because she noticed he was upset because him and I have been having issues lately. I feel like they both have fault. She was insanely wrong for doing that, and he was wrong for letting her. I don't know. He says I'm fucked up for getting mad at him and not her, which is not true. I'm mad at both of them. I'm not sure how to go about this. Part of me wants to call it quits, but the other half of me feels bad for not believing him. Edit. He's now claiming that she sexually attacked him, and he is not pressing charges. Edit 2. Thank you all for the overwhelming love and support. We have mutually decided that this relationship is not the best to continue. I appreciate every single one of you that has left a comment giving me support, advice, and love. Hopefully, the next chapter of my life will be a better one. 3. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This is why you don't get married at 19. Like, he literally cheated on you right in front of you, and you're not done? LOL. I'm not sure what it would take then. There's more to life than this. Comment 2. I guarantee you this wasn't the first time. They both got up, came back, and the movie got louder. That is no coincidence. They thought you were sleeping, and you messed up their plans. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, I just wanted to say thanks for all the comments and support from my last post. It's been a crazy few days, and a lot has happened since then. After my last update, things got even more intense. My husband, who I've been with for 3 years, started to act really strange. He was always on his phone, and whenever I walked into the room, he would quickly put it away. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, especially after the incident with my friend. I decided to confront him about his behavior. It turns out he had been messaging my friend behind my back. He tried to explain that they were just talking about what happened and that he was trying to understand why she did what she did. But when I asked to see the messages, he refused. That's when I knew I couldn't trust him anymore. I remembered how, before we got married, he had a habit of hiding things from me. He would tell little white lies about where he was or who he was with. I always thought he would change after we got married, but I guess some habits are hard to break. The next day, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. I bumped into an old friend from high school who I hadn't seen in years. We got to talking, and I ended up spilling everything that had been going on. She was shocked and told me that I deserved better. It felt good to have someone on my side. When I got home, my husband was waiting for me. He had this look on his face like he knew he had been caught. He finally admitted that he had feelings for my friend and that the night I caught them, it wasn't the first time something had happened between them. I was heartbroken. I couldn't believe that the man I married would do this to me. But then, he did something I didn't expect. He broke down crying and begged for my forgiveness. He said he realized he had made a huge mistake and that he didn't want to lose me. He promised he would do whatever it takes to make things right. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to walk away and never look back, but another part of me still loved him. We had been through so much together, and I couldn't just throw it all away. we decided to go to couples therapy. It was tough at first, talking about all our issues and the betrayal. But as the sessions went on, we started to understand each other better. We talked about our past, about how we met at a friend's party, and how we instantly clicked. We remembered the good times, like our first vacation together and how he proposed at my favorite restaurant. The therapist helped us work through our communication problems. We learned how to be honest with each other and how to trust again. It wasn't easy, but we were both committed to fixing our marriage. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any more surprising, my husband did something amazing. He planned a surprise vow renewal ceremony. He said he wanted to show me how much he loved me and that he was ready to start fresh. It was just the two of us, and it was perfect. Best friend steals our Europe trip fund, but comes clean to her parents and returns the cash. So we postpone our dream vacation and learn honesty is worth more than a getaway. I can't believe my best friend and I are finally both 18. We have been waiting for this day for so long. We have known each other since forever, and it feels like only yesterday we were just little kids playing in the park. Now we are adults and ready to take on the world. Another thing that's exciting is the fact that we both got accepted into our dream universities. I will be attending UCLA, and my best friend will be going to NYU. We are so proud of ourselves and all the hard work we put into our studies. I am also thrilled about the summer trip we have planned. We are going to travel through Europe for 2 months. We have saved up $4,000 each for this trip, and we can't wait to explore new countries, try new foods, and meet new people. Overall, I am just grateful for all the amazing opportunities that life has given us. We have come a long way from being little kids in the park. I am excited for what the future holds for us, and I know that we will always have each other's backs. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She doesn't even know you. Why should she do anything out of respect to you? Yes, you were his fiancé, but you weren't the only person on this planet who cared about him. The presence of other people who cared about him does not in any way lessen the importance of your relationship. I know you're grieving. If there's ever a time when it's understandable to be unhinged, it's now. But know that you are acting unhinged. Leave this woman alone. Comment 2. Nothing? This person is nothing to you and you are nothing to her. She doesn't owe you anything and isn't going to be convinced. I know it hurts, but she doesn't have to do what you ask and likely won't. Unfollow her from your husband's account and don't look at it. She is thirsty for attention. Don't give her any. I'm sorry for your loss. Now for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I've got to tell you, it's been a wild ride. So my best friend and I, we've been through thick and thin together. We've known each other since we were in diapers, and our families are like super close. We've celebrated every birthday together, and we've been each other's rock through all the school drama and family stuff. Now, remember how I said we both got into our dream universities? Well, that's where things started getting crazy. See, my best friend, let's call her Emily, she's always been the more outgoing one. She's got this charm about her, you know? So when she got her acceptance letter to NYU, her parents threw this massive party. It was like the whole neighborhood was there, and Emily was just beaming. But then there was this moment that I'll never forget. Emily's cousin, who's always been kind of shady, pulled me aside and was like, Emily's not as perfect as she seems. I didn't know what he meant by that, but it gave me this weird feeling in my gut. Fast forward to our Europe trip planning. We were both so stoked, picking out places to visit, and then Emily drops a bombshell. She tells me she's been saving up extra cash on the side, and now she's got like $6,000 instead of the $4,000 we both agreed on. I was happy for her, but also a bit confused. How did she manage to save up that much more? Then, one day, I was at her place and I overheard her on the phone. She was talking to someone about making sure the transactions were untraceable. It was super sketchy, and I started to wonder if what her cousin said was true. I decided to do some digging. I remembered all those times Emily volunteered to handle the money for our school fundraisers, and how there were always a few bucks missing here and there. No one ever suspected sweet Emily, but now things were starting to add up. So I confronted her about it. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. We were at our favorite cafe, the one where we'd go after school to study, and I just laid it all out. Emily's face went white as a sheet. She tried to deny it at first, but then she broke down and admitted everything. She'd been skimming money from the fundraisers, from her parents, even from her little brother's piggy bank. I was so mad I could barely see straight. But I remembered all the years of friendship we had, and I knew I had to do something to help her make it right. We decided that she would come clean to her parents and return all the money she took. It was tough watching her go through that, but it was necessary. Her parents were shocked, to say the least. They grounded her for like eternity and made her work a part-time job to pay back every single penny. Emily was mortified, especially when word got out at school, but she owned up to her mistakes and worked hard to regain everyone's trust. As for our Europe trip, it was put on hold. We both agreed that it wouldn't feel right going on this adventure with the shadow of what happened hanging over us. Instead, we took on summer jobs and started planning for a trip next year, one that we would fund honestly and without any secrets between us. It's been a tough couple of weeks, but I've seen a change in Emily. She's more humble now, more considerate. And as for me, I've learned that sometimes you have to face uncomfortable truths to help the people you love. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.